What does it really take to build a global brand that farmers in New Zealand, corporate managers in New York, and sustainability advocates worldwide all trust? In this episode, we sit down with Nicola Harrop, Head of Marketing at Gallagher, one of New Zealand's most innovative and globally respected companies in animal management and agricultural technology. Nicola shares hard-won insights on global brand consistency, omni-channel marketing, the real impact of AI on marketing teams, and why authenticity is winning over automation. Whether you're a marketing student, an industry professional, or simply curious about how world-class brands are built and sustained, this conversation is for you. Let's dive in. Before we get into the conversation, let's set the stage. Gallagher Group was founded in Hamilton, New Zealand in 1938 and has grown into a truly global organisation, operating in over 160 countries. Their product lines span electric fencing, animal management systems, and advanced security solutions used by everyone from small family farms to large agricultural enterprises and government facilities worldwide. What makes Gallagher particularly interesting from a marketing perspective is the challenge of communicating technical, industrial products to a diverse global audience that spans different cultures, climates, regulatory environments, and digital behaviours. Understanding how a company like Gallagher navigates this complexity gives us a masterclass in modern global marketing strategy.
Good afternoon and welcome. My name is Ishtaq Ahmed Titash. I'm from Bangladesh and currently I'm pursuing my master's in business majoring in marketing at University of Waikato. Gallagher operates in many countries around the world. So how would you describe the current market conditions and changing customer expectations within your industry?
Oh, good question. So, hello, lovely to meet you. Hello, team who are watching this. Hi.
Hi.
Very excited to be on this call and share kind of some insights for you from the industry side of things. Geopolitics, pretty complex at the moment. So you'll probably be aware of all of the things that are happening in the world. And while you wouldn't think necessarily that, say, a war would impact marketing in a business, it does. It does have a big impact on our supply chain, our ability to deliver our products to customers and give them a really good customer experience. And if you're not giving a good customer experience, then the thing that gets impacted by that is your brand. So very quickly, what's going on in the world and the changes and the turbulence and the uncertainty of some of these things, they have a very fast impact on things that we work on here in marketing. So you're very connected. So how do we manage that? So obviously there's a lot going on in the world, and we have a strategy process, and this process runs every year. Normally it takes about 3-4 months to do, and it's our marketing strategy. We've just done it for our coming 12 months. And in this process, we actually have what we call macro trends, and we've identified some key trends that are happening out in the world globally that impact our business. And every year we check on these trends. So from my point of view, strategy is never going to really change unless obviously there's a massive change in your business that fundamentally changes your organization. If things are tracking on year, then actually your marketing strategy is pretty consistent. It's your tactics that change. And that's the first thing to work out when it comes to marketing, is strategy is not the same as tactics. Okay. So strategy is this enduring approach to how you're handling business. So for Gallagher, we use something called macro trends, as a tool, and we check on these. And one of those trends, one of 5 trends we check, is geopolitical stability. That's one of the 5. The other ones we check are things like changing consumer behaviors. So there might be, maybe think COVID, for example, where everybody was online for an extended period of time. When we came off the back of COVID and people started going back to their normal, what we found is that their behavior had actually shifted. And so what was normal before COVID was not normal after COVID. And so people who you wouldn't expect to want to shop online, like maybe your grandma, all of a sudden they were shopping online because they'd been doing click and collect for a year through COVID. So you've got this big demographic shift in behavior there that's happening globally. We check in on some of these trends, and we do this annually to make sure that we're actually we're meeting the needs of our customers in a changing environment. You mentioned in your introduction sustainability. That's actually for us another area that has a big impact, because if you think about agriculture, there's a lot of things that impact agriculture on the sustainability front. So we have climate change. So there's a lot of different trends and opinions and approaches to climate change around the world. So you might have legislation that comes out from the UN or some big enterprise that actually fundamentally changes how businesses then approach an aspect of sustainability. You might have climate change events happening around the world. For example, over in Australia, we've had a lot of flooding and we've had a lot of wildfires. So those types of things are going to impact Australian buyers, but say over in the US, not so much. They might have different impacts. Like, for example, up in Canada, they get extremely cold winters. Their winters have been getting longer. And so actually their season to be able to go in and grow things or raise animals is getting shorter and shorter. And so they have a very different dynamic, both driven by seasonality, both driven by climate. And we have to be aware because they're very different customer bases with very different needs.
Nicola's answer here is a fascinating window into how sophisticated global companies actually think about strategy. She makes a critical distinction that many early career marketers miss. Strategy and tactics are not the same thing. Nicola's point about COVID is particularly insightful. The pandemic didn't just disrupt supply chains, it permanently altered customer behavior patterns in ways that no company could have predicted. Farmers who had never shopped online suddenly became comfortable with e-commerce, and that behavioral shift became permanent. Companies that recognized and adapted to this change thrived. Those that assumed customers would simply revert to old habits fell behind.
How important is creativity when communicating Gallagher's technological products and maintaining a strong brand image?
Creativity is incredibly important, and we spend a lot of time working on our brand here at Gallagher. We call it the Wall of Orange. So we have a very strong brand identity, and this is all governed through what we call a design system or brand guidelines. And these are sent out around the world. They're available online, they're digital. I'd love to show it to you because we're just so proud of them. They're really it's a beautiful brand portal for all the different people in our business to be able to access and use. So you've got people from the US accessing the brand portal, and you've got people who are perhaps agencies, for example, who are not Gallagher employees but are third parties, and they're coming in, distributors accessing our guidance. And that helps us keep that consistency of brand really strong globally, but then it also allows us to manage the scale of the work that we do. So we actually have really clear guidance and frameworks behind our brand and also behind our products. So when we're talking, for example, about fencing, we have an overarching set of messages. So when you hear that message about animal fencing, and we're talking about the value proposition that goes behind that product as it goes into market, that is all also templated into a system so that when it goes out through the world and we're doing a release of a new fencing product into another country or into multiple countries, then we get that consistency of messaging. So we actually have a very sophisticated brand and content creation process here. And actually here in Hamilton, I am sitting outside of my office here at Gallagher at Kahikatea Drive. We have a team of 14 people who are dedicated to exactly this. So it's their job every day to help manage creating and delivering those assets out to all of our customers, all different parts of the business, and keeping that consistency so that we've got a super strong Gallagher brand, not just in New Zealand, but globally.
The concept of brand consistency at a global scale is one of the most difficult challenges any multinational faces. Nicola's description of Gallagher's Wall of Orange and their digital brand portal illustrates a best practice approach.
how does Gallagher use content such as customer stories, case studies, or educational materials to build customer trust? For an example, I was reading a case from Harvard University, and they used to do the case for Unilever and something like that. So, how do you just promote your stories through different social media platforms or different customer segmentation, something like that?
Yeah, we do all of that. If you just jump on into our social media, you'll see loads of examples on TikTok and on Instagram and LinkedIn of our customer testimonials. So the way that we do this is we take an outcome led approach. So when we're creating this content and asking customers to do these testimonials, we're not looking for them to talk about the product and tell us all the features of this phone. You could do that and everybody could probably do that. But
Yep.
what we're asking them to do is to tell us what it means to actually own and use this phone. So for me as a mother, having a phone with technology on it, which means I can keep an eye on my children and I know where they are, that's actually an outcome for me. And farmers are the same, right? In all our different customer segments, they're trying to do something with what we give them. They're not necessarily building a fence, but they might actually be trying to keep wildlife out of their property, right? Maybe they've got deer that are coming in and eating all of their grain, or they're up in Europe and they've got lots of wolves that are prowling around, and they're trying to keep the wolves out of their property so that their kids can play in the garden. So there's what are they actually trying to do versus what is the product doing? That's a very different way of articulating the story. So first that's finding what the outcome is. So then you can actually connect it to the challenges and the pain that a customer segment is experiencing. And that way you're going to, one, probably add an emotional connection to what is, if you were doing a product-led type campaign or piece of content, it would be quite dry without the emotion in it. And then you can actually then start using these stories to resonate with these different customer segments. So if we are talking to corporate farmers and believe that it's hard to believe, but there are corporate farmers, and these are people who are working in an office like me, and they're actually running multiple farms through their laptop. They're like farm managers, but maybe based in New York City, and they're managing these big farming enterprises. You probably aren't going to find those people on TikTok. You're probably going to find that.
Really?
Yeah, they're probably going to be older, like the demographic is different. They might be on TikTok because their kids are on TikTok, right? But they're not going to be looking for business content on TikTok, whereas they might have a strong presence and a strong engagement in other digital channels like LinkedIn, for example, or they use YouTube a lot because they're happy to use it to maybe find information. So then we tailor. So we got our content, we shaped it the right way, it follows our guidelines, it's looking really good. And then we are tailoring it for the type of customer. So we use a tool called personas to do that.
Yeah.
And so then we're spinning it up. And actually, I've got a whole lot of AI agents that kind of do this for me because we built them and we were like, okay, make this piece of content sound great for a corporate farmer, and now make it sound great for a hobbyist or a lifestyle farmer. And it whips it up for us. And then you say to it, hey, I want to post this on LinkedIn. So give me a long form and it will write to the specifications of LinkedIn. Or then you go, now I want this for TikTok, and it's going to do the format for TikTok to the specifications for that platform. And then it goes out. So now you've tailored it for the customer, and then you've tailored it for the platform. And then you've got to localize it.
Wow. So more likely what we can understand is whatever the technology advances, it actually helps us. But in marketing strategy, we have to go back to the traditional way for picking up the customers in emotions, to connect with them directly. We have to focus on the historical data and the conventional strategy, rather than we are not focusing on the only one or two platforms in digitally that it's growing. So we have to go with the trends, not like that.
Nicola's discussion of outcome-led storytelling versus feature-led marketing is one of the most practically valuable concepts in this entire conversation. It's a principle that applies across every industry, from technology startups two agricultural businesses. The first version gives people information. The second version gives people a reason to care.
Which forms of advertising or digital marketing are currently most effective for reaching your customer segment?
Our customers we call them omni-channel.
Okay.
So they're working across a lot of channels, right?
Yeah.
Maybe if you dialed back to 1950, you would find a farmer going into a store, and that's how they'd get their information and buy your products. Now you've got digital, so people are online. Not only are they online, but they're online in different places using different devices. So you've got the social media aspect of it, you've got the e-commerce aspect of it, you've got the website side of things. So there's quite a lot of channels. So this is why we call it the omni-channel. And so we actually market to the omni-channel farmer.
Okay.
Yeah. So all of our strategies and everything that we do cover this really sophisticated farmer now. And they're looking for information across all of these channels. And not only that, they expect the experience across all these channels to be interconnected. So if they've gone here and gotten some information and talked to someone maybe in a store and maybe bought a product, and then they come back and they try and buy that product online, and they think, I registered my other product in the store and I sent you, we mailed it to you and you got your product registration, so you should know that I have that product. So now when I'm talking to you, I expect you to know that knowledge about me. So all these different channels have to all work together and feed and flow. And that is the really hard part, because people think, oh, technology is great. Oh, all these channels, but you actually have to get them to work together. So It's gotten far more complex, because a farmer is not in one place in one channel and always in the store, and that's the only place they shop. They're shopping across all of these other places. They expect you to know who they are. And they have really high expectations because other brands are delivering really great experience as well. So the whole thing has gotten really complicated. So to answer your question, we are actually in pretty much every channel. So of all the things that you've touched on, we've got a presence. We've got a presence.
How does Gallagher utilize customer data and marketing analytics to improve campaigns and support your business decision making?
Wow. Okay. So if you are not thinking about your customer data and you are not thinking about what is that skill set I need to be able to use, connect this data together and use it to generate insights across all of the channels and the omni-channel that I just talked about, then I don't think you're marketing. Because marketing is about getting a result for the business, right? It's not about making things nice. It's about actually delivering meaningful impact and return on investment. So especially with, social media, with digital, with advertising, paid advertising, all of those types of things, there's metrics to track them all. So there really is no excuse to not measure your marketing. And in fact, there's been a big shift in the last 15, 20 years to sort of what we would call performance marketing. And that's really the marketing that is based on, metrics and targeting and optimization of your metrics so that you can get the best return on your advertising spend. So they call that ROAS. I don't know if you've heard that. And then so you've got all these busy metrics of the channel, but actually what you're chasing is things like return on investment, which is ROAS. It's another metric called CAC. I don't think it's a horrible acronym, CAC, but cost of the acquired customer. So that's how much did it actually cost you through this campaign with all these different channels firing to actually get that customer to purchase. And then there's like a lead funnel that's attached to this, right? Or a conversion funnel. So, that there was a certain ROAS and a CAC, but then as they pass through that conversion pipe, like how did they convert? Like in this campaign that I've just done that fired across these 5 channels, I got, yeah, absolutely. So I've already mentioned a few sort of areas. So right from the marketing strategy, we're thinking about sustainability there. We have a corporate team who are responsible for Gallagher Group and our policies and sort of approach to business. And so we have our kind of high level policies set out. So we have things like, employee welfare and, all that sort of diversity piece around our people. That's all outlined. Our approach to community, that's all outlined. Our approach to sustainability, potentially our procurement policy that includes a lot about sustainability. We also have other policies that talk about ethical, approach to marketing or to, employment, and, it outlines our feelings around, slave labor and all of those types of things. So, that's kind of governed at this very high level. And then we draw on that and pull that into animal management and the marketing that we're doing. So when we are creating campaigns and messages about a product, we use our value proposition and our messaging framework to talk. And normally there is a pillar in there that talks specifically about sustainability. And so doesn't matter what the product is, usually there's a theme. So we'll talk about why it's important.
So, how do you believe that AI and emerging technologies will shape the future of marketing and customer engagement at Gallagher?
I think it's definitely going to change it. But what I'm learning, and I've been doing a lot with AI for the last few years, because Gallagher is really big on innovation and AI is a big part of that this is actually a lot more slow moving than people think. So there's a lot of pressure around to learn and use AI. But the first thing I would say to everybody in the room is stop, don't panic. Nobody's going to be losing their jobs, and no marketing job is really going to disappear because of AI, right? It's having an impact on some of the things that we do. And when I say an impact, it's probably more that it's helping us do it better, faster, so that we can actually maybe remove the admin of, some of the stuff we would have spent weeks kind of slogging away, like customer research, right? And it would have cost heaps if we went out and asked an agency to do it. But this is stuff that we can speed up, so we can, do a lot of the stuff ourselves, and we can do it quicker, and it helps us move faster, which helps us be more competitive. So it's just making us better. It's like enhanced human beings, really. So it's not, I don't think it should be seen as a threat. Where I think it's going to have the biggest impact is it's kind of like a partner, right? So if you see it like a thought partner, and if you develop your skills in learning how to use AI in a way that is, allowing you to think better, using it as a thought partner, so you can help it craft your strategic thinking, or automate the boring things that you don't want to do, like your inbox. Nobody really wants to spend hours a day on their inbox when they could be doing cool stuff like creating campaigns. So, you can use it for that. So learning how to use it in that way as a thought partner is really, from a personal productivity point of view, where I'm seeing it going. I'm yet to see it wholesale replace stuff. And where I've seen companies go down that road, I've seen them reverse a lot of the time and go, whoa, hang on a second, this is having a huge impact to our brand. It's having a huge impact to our customer experience. Maybe it swung kind of too far and we need to correct it. The ones that are getting it right are using it really smartly. So they're using it like in end-to-end processes now. So it's not just about my personal productivity. It's about how something works, like content creation in a team, like marketing, using it to kind of speed up these things.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, thank you so much, Nicola, for sharing your valuable insights and experience with us today. So, it's the ending time. In our country, there is a proverb which says, "Jete nahi dite chai, tobu jete dite hoy, tobu chole jai." That means I don't want to leave you, but I have to leave you. So, it means like, it means a lot. But we truly appreciate your time and knowledge and willingness to contribute to our academic learning experience here at the University of Waikato.